The Mayor Pro Tem talked about Municipal Court. It's not a new facility. Talk a little bit about what's going on there and what it'll be like after that project's completed.
Well, certainly we'll do that. So your municipal court that is being built now, the one that's just come under construction, is immediately on the west side of the tower. It is an older building. The city actually purchased it as part of the tower project in order to gain a bunch of parking that we needed. I think a lot of people here call that the old WorkSource building. Neat building. It's single floor. It's easy access. It will allow us to extend today the plaza that you see immediately outside of the tower doors. Will extend out past the municipal court's doors, ties into the parking garage, just continues to build on that campus concept.
The police headquarters, you mentioned it in your comments. What are some details around that? I think it's an administrative headquarters, right? I mean, how does it work with the substations? Maybe is a good way of getting to it.
Sure, it's certainly much smaller than the facility it replaces. We have to start on the substations and move the troops into those before we could move everybody else back into HQ. So it is primarily administrative.
It'll have some of your investigative, and a little limited part of the special operations groups will be in there.
But primarily administrative.
There's one other piece. It's the property warehouse and crime lab, right? Talk about that. What should we expect from that?
That'll probably be the last project of what we call the public safety improvements project that will occur. It's going to be on city land that we already own that was originally the old animal shelter. It'll be a property that's not as shiny on the outside, but probably look more like a warehouse to people that drive by it, but it's what's inside that's important. It gives our police the ability to categorize and catalog the property that they intake, and as well as do their duties that they require in the crime lab.
What would be a highlight to you on other projects that are going on this year, Mr. Atkinson?
I think in our current year budget, the one that really rises to the top for me is the City Council was able to double the amount of funding we're putting into the program to take what are today dirt residential streets and to pave those. And, many of those have existed in that form for 60 to 80 years, and it's time to change them. And I think we took a big step. Public Works, we're continuing our efforts to build the water towers. You see one of those over on Indiana, and you see one over on Milwaukee. And, as the council's well aware, but the public may not be, those are just the first two of a total of 7. And what those towers are going to do for us is completely change the mechanics of how we deliver water. It's going to pay for themselves each over a period of about 7 years, just in reduced electricity costs from our pumps. So it's going to be neat, and we look forward to getting those. They're about to raise the bowls, at least on the one over on Indiana.
Yeah, I saw that. What about you, Steve? What jumps out at you?
I'd say the renovation we're doing at the airport right now. It's probably something that's out of sight and out of mind for a lot of people in the COVID era, but when we are able to start traveling again, you're going to have an airport that's refreshed, that's going to serve the traveler better. It's just way overdue, and I think people will be really happy to see it. I think if I mention airport, I've got to call your attention to the fact that it doesn't take any tax money to pay for that renovation. Those are paid for fees collected at the airport.
What did you learn from 2020?
Other than that, I did know how to comb my hair. I learned that there were things that we couldn't control that I wish we could control as we managed our community through the pandemic. I learned that we live in a community that when threatened, that we all come together and work for the same common good. And that was, government, city, county, that was various agencies across our community, hospitals, businesses that compete against each other, working together to fight the coronavirus.
Mr. Atkinson, same question. What did you learn from 2020?